It's episode 1283, and it's the Relevant Podcast. Welcome to 2026. Here in Orlando, I'm your host, Cameron Strang, and joining me from Loverland, Virginia, is Jesse Carey.
Hello, hello.
From Nashville, our managing editor downtown, Emily Brown.
Hey, y'all.
And it's just us. Derek has meetings, and Marty could not get up early enough to record because we're recording at a different time than normal. So
actually, I think he said he was on babysitting duty, which I guess is just parenting, not babysitting duty. But yeah.
Yeah, it's always weird when dads say I'm babysitting the kid. It's like
that never went over well, and I understand why. Like it is like a co-parenting deal, you know. But
that is famously how co-parenting works. Is there are two parents?
There is no once you become a father or a mother, there's no babysitting. There's just parenting. You know, there's no difference. But either way, I understand not wanting to try to wrangle a baby while podcasting. I can't say I haven't attempted it myself, but
I mean, wait, you have? You've tried? Yeah. You've had a baby off camera while recording the podcast?
I'm certain over the years. Like, I'm not recently. I mean, my children aren't babies, but I'm certain we used to have, when I first had my son and I was doing a lot of work from home. And the first one, you're always more ambitious than is advisable. You know, you're always like, I can totally handle that. It's just a baby. You know, like I could work a full-time deal and have, you know, it's no problem. I can work from home for a couple of days. That's not the case. But we did get this contraption that, we had like a baby registry and it was like a swing thing, you know? And when this thing got rocking, I mean, it was like a carnival ride. It was like one of those like ones that you see like every once in a while on Reddit, you'll see like, or on the Twitter or X or whatever, a carnival ride that's getting out of control. Like the carnies forgot to bolt down the back end or
like
something.
The people have to go and like hold it. Like the people run to like keep it from tipping over.
It's like it starts like a scene from like Final Destination. Like it was that equivalent of a swing. I'm telling you, like it was half of it was coming off the ground, but I'll tell you this, it put that baby right down. And maybe because they were just clenching
concussed
in silent terror for an hour while I recorded.
I heard that if you like fall out of a skyscraper or out of an airplane and you're like falling to your death, your body will shut itself down so you don't experience the painful trauma.
How do you know that?
Yeah.
Long distance camera lenses. I don't know. I just heard it. But anyway, like your body shuts down. So maybe that's what your children were going through.
Yeah, we'll see. They turned out okay.
If you're watching the video show, this was a seamless, toot. But what you don't know is Emily's appearance just changed because she took her glasses off. If you're listening to the audio show, you don't realize. Like, it looks like we're just continuously in one shot, and then all of a sudden snap like what was it? Bewitched. Like you'd snap your fingers and like something would change.
It's the magic of editing that can fix a glasses reflection or a baby swinging violently in a swing.
Or falling to your death and passing out on the way down.
Yeah. Same magic. Yeah.
Did you guys have a good New Year's? Anything fun, notable?
I was in Houston with friends. And that was
by choice, by the way. By choice, you went to Houston.
As opposed to by force?
I don't know that many people that go to Houston by choice. That's all. I was just noting.
I've been quite a few times in the past year for
business. You don't go for pleasure.
I'll say this: a lot of restaurants in Houston.
Yeah, that's true.
No shortage of places to eat. You know.
Yeah.
No, it's fun. Yeah, we went out. I don't know if I really want to talk about what. I mean, I didn't get anything like crazy, but we just went out.
I did not plan to do this over the holidays, but for the first time in probably ever, I completely shut down for almost 2 weeks. Like, I just don't do that. Like, I'll be like, I'll do this project or we're traveling or this, that, whatever. From like the 23rd to, or 24th, I guess, to yesterday, I did nothing. I watched this. It's so nerdy. And I know I'm late to the game on this for the people who like the show, but I watched all 6 seasons of The Crown. The Netflix show about the monarchy.
Not at all what I thought the show you were going to be spending over Christmas break watching.
It is unbelievably good. And I know, like I had no clue. I'm not into monarchy stuff. I don't care. Just as a television show, it was so well done. I mean, the way it's shot, the way it's written, the fact that like every once in a while something would happen that I vaguely remember. I'm like, so that was true. Or this is the backstory to that or whatever. So good. I'm telling you, the scenes around Diana and post Diana, Crying. It was so good.
There is no subject matter that interests me less
than the monarchy. Watch The Crown, dude. It's captivating.
I gotta
but
say,
do you actually care about the monarchy now?
No.
Okay.
No, I couldn't care less. I didn't Google anything that's going on with them now. Like, it stopped about 10 years ago in the storyline.
Sure.
I don't know. I don't care. I don't care. It was just great television. So anyway, it's great.
I on New Year's Eve, I stay at home and hung with the fam this year. Usually we do something.
As opposed to clubbing?
Usually we go somewhere. We do something. There's a quaint little like fishing town not too far from here called Cape Charles, about 40 minutes up on the eastern shore. You got to go over a bridge to get there. And they do a crab pot drop at midnight right in their old historic downtown. We used to do that quite a bit. Pretty fun. They do it at 10 o'clock, not midnight, because sleepy little town. But it's a great time.
They do not celebrate New Year's at 10 p.m.
They do. Well, they have live music after, but the crab pot drop is at
That's so stupid. I think that's so weird.
Well, people in that town like to go to bed early. There's not a lot to do late at night. Like I said, it's like a fishing village from like a Hallmark movie. It really is. It's like stuck in time. It's called Cape Charles. If anyone's looking to look it up, but we would go there, or sometimes we get a hotel downtown, and just do a whole thing. Stayed in this year, and we had on the like Times Square Christmas or New Year's deal. They're getting depressing, aren't they? It was like Busta Rhymes, and then I flipped back to CBS, and it was like the country one, and it was going to like Las Vegas. And
you switch over to CNN real quick, and it's like just two drunk guys.
There wasn't one that was fun to watch or made me feel very good about the state of American popular culture. And I don't think I'm being a curmudgeon. I enjoy popular culture. I just feel like at some point, maybe like Netflix or HBO or Disney Plus, I think it's time for one of the streamers to step up and figure this out, because the traditional legacy networks, it's bad. It is really bad and painful. Let's just try something fresh. Let a bunch of YouTubers give it a hack. Rent out some stage in some big city, invite a bunch of people. Because did you guys watch any? It was really painful.
No, I will say before my friends and I went out, half of them are like mothers. And so we did like a family gathering with all of us before we went out at probably like 5 o'clock. And we did put on the 2004 ball drop. So that way the kids could experience the ball drop at midnight before they went to bed.
I was watching The Crown until about 11:45 and then picked it back up about 12:15.
This is a very depressing New Year's for all of us.
No, I had a good time. I was out. Okay. I do want to ask, because I was out till I remember getting into the Uber at 1:50, and we were going back to our hotel that we'd rented, and the Uber driver started making fun of us, saying that we were like calling it quits too early and we should have stayed out later. Can y'all back me up here? 2 a.m. is like a good time to go home, right?
Well, 2 a.m.'s last call in my I know some cities last call is like 4, but I
think that is Houston. But 2 a.m. is still like late. He was making it seem like we were lame and going in early.
I think that's fine if that's what you want to do. Who cares what he thinks of you, right?
No, I think very highly of this random Uber driver who I'll never see again.
I was going to say, live your life.
I think he's probably mad because he wants that surge pricing. Stay out till 4 after last call.
That's true.
That surge rate.
I will tell you, I read something like the number one city for New Year's this year was Orlando because instead of New York, because in New York you have the one central massive thing where everybody goes. We have that times 7 because every theme park had their own New Year's and it was all packed. And the weird thing about where I live near downtown, which is not anywhere near the theme parks, but because I'm on the lakes, there's this, when you're in the Capitol Rotunda and you're on one side of the Capitol building, this is like field trips. You can whisper and somebody on the other side of the Rotunda will hear you because of the acoustics. My lake does that with the theme park fireworks. So oh,
that's cool.
I was hearing fireworks, no lie, and this is also all the neighborhoods and stuff around the city from 4 p.m. to 4 a.m. like it was in my backyard, like like shaking the house. And I am 35 minutes away from the theme parks. So I can attest that people are staying out till 4 a.m, Emily, because fireworks are going off until
that would be my worst New Year's. Probably my most un-American thing is I do not like fireworks. I think they're very overrated.
You and my dog would get along great.
Yeah, me and Barkley, same person.
I was hospitalized at an Orlando fireworks show.
Wait, is that the one where the shell fell down and hit you at Lake Eola?
Yeah, I was at Lake Eola, and it was a very non-windy night, right? And so the fireworks started going up, and I don't know if they do them there anymore because like
they do on July 4th, not on New Year's Eve. New Year's Eve is the theme park.
Maybe it was July 4th, but either way, I was there watching them, and there was no wind, and the building surrounding the area basically has this stillness effect. And when the fireworks started going off, usually you never really think about debris, but it's big pieces of paper and cardboard that are blowing up there.
Yeah.
I'm looking up, one landed right in my eye, like directly in it. I ended up in the emergency room that night.
I remember.
I really wanted, I'm not a litigious person, so I'm not going to sue the city of Orlando, though I may have had a case.
If there's ever a time to sue the city of Orlando, it would be that.
Dude, there was one year where one misfired and went into the crowd, and my memory is it killed a 7-year-old kid, but it may have just hurt the 7-year-old kid. But he's right. It's an urban park. We have this small lake in the middle of our downtown, completely surrounded by buildings, and there's a little bit of grassy area, and it's where the locals go. So all the tourists go south, all the locals will go to the celebration downtown. But it's 100,000 people in an area built for 5,000 people.
And basically, from a wind perspective, you're standing in a big pit.
A big pit.
And it just rains all manner of debris directly. They should hand out goggles. That's the thing.
Is that why you have to wear glasses now?
Yeah. Jesse, were you there the year I was living in the tower downtown right by Lake Eola?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
So do you remember July 4th one year we went out on the pool deck? It was the 7th floor.
Wasn't there some drama going down at an adjacent balcony?
No, we were out on the pool deck with other residents because my balcony faced the other side of the building. So we were out on the pool deck with 50 people or whatever. And we were all just minding our business watching the fireworks because it was an amazing vantage point. We're on the 7th floor, the right in front of your face. And there was these two guys in front of us, and one was shirtless, and he had apparently a major back surgery at one point because he had all these scars down his back, and he was sobbing, and his friend had his arm over him and was consoling him as the fireworks were going off. And we were just like, what is going on here? It was great.
They had just wrapped an emotional season of The Crown.
The Crown. They're thinking about Princess Diana. Yeah. Oh, man. Anyway, hey, we have a great show. I know you're listening to this 10 days after New Year's. So you guys are fully all in 2026 and have probably forgotten about your New Year's. But looking ahead, we have a great show. We have Zach Bolen from the indie band Citizens. They have a new album that just came out recently. Emily talks to him, brings us some of that conversation. She'll tell you more about it in a few minutes. We also have Slices. At the end of the show, I have a game for you guys, specifically for the new year, called Overrated, Underrated, or Just Right. I'm going to give you things, and you're going to tell me whether that thing is overrated, underrated, or just right. Stay tuned for that. All right, right after this quick break, it's Relevant Buzz.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Mercy Ships. Globally, 5 billion people lack access to surgical care. In sub-Saharan Africa, there's only one surgeon for every 200,000 people. Mercy Ships provides free, life-transforming surgeries for people who have little to no access to medical care. They help the blind see, straighten twisted limbs, remove deadly tumors, treat cleft conditions, and so much more. With state-of-the-art hospital ships, they provide safe surgery to children and adults living with treatable conditions, and it's completely free of charge. They do all this work with an all-volunteer crew of professionals who donate their time and talents. Surgeons, stewards, nurses, engineers, and more make the world a better place. Your donation today provides free, safe surgeries to people in desperate need of help. All gifts are matched, so please donate today at mercyships.org/relevant.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Tim Tebow's book, Look Again. Have you ever wondered what would change if you truly believed you were infinitely valuable to God? In his New York Times bestselling book, Look Again, Tim Tebow reveals the powerful truth that when we learn to see the image of God in every person, including those we struggle to love, everything changes. Tebow shares incredible stories from his work with people the world often overlooks, and it will challenge you to stand up to the lies, rediscover the worth that everyone has, and impact the world for good. Find Look Again by Tim Tebow, available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for
Relevant Buzz.
Tell us what's happening at the intersection of faith and culture this week, Emily, considering you've been pretty much out for 2 weeks and have no clue what's going on. So tell us what's going on.
I've done some research from bits and
You've been
pieces.
catching up today?
Yeah, I heard there was this thing
You
called
guys heard about the
Passion.
Crown?
The show ended in 2023, by the way. So like I am very late. And it's 6 seasons. So it's like so it started in the teens at some point. So
But now you're caught up. That's the important part.
Also, there's this hot new rapper named Kanye West. You should check him out. He has a big album called Graduation that I'm listening to lately.
I don't know. Something about him gives me problematic vibes. I don't know.
I don't know.
We'll see. We'll see how it turns out for him.
He's innovative, man.
Yeah, we'll check on him in about 15 years and see what
big
he's up
things
to,
are coming for that guy. Yeah. Anyway, sorry, go ahead.
No, yeah, I was pretty offline last week, but I am aware that some things happened, including Passion Conference happened last week. Always kicks off the new year. This week it was last week it was in Arlington, Texas. I saw that about
not Atlanta this year.
Not Atlanta. They had done Arlington and Atlanta, I think once or twice, but this year they're sticking with Texas.
Well, it's context. For those who don't know, Passion Conference is for college students and young adults. I think you have to be 18 to 24 to go. Mm-hmm. It's been going for 25 years. They've been killing it. No drop off. It's incredible. They always pack out the Mercedes-Benz Dome in Atlanta, like between 70. And I remember one year recently, they had 100,000 people because they took over their adjacent facilities. And but they sometimes book it when there's a conflicting football game. So it's always at the beginning or it's right at the new year. And so like they have to deal with college football and the Falcons and whatever. And so some years the Mercedes is booked. And so they've split it. Like they did the basketball arena in Atlanta and the basketball arena in Dallas. And then this year, I think that was maybe logistically too difficult. So they just did the whole thing in a football stadium in Dallas. So, so anyway, that's the context of why it's not like leaving Atlanta. It was just scheduling stuff.
Just temporary. This year happened to be in Texas. Yes.
Yeah.
Yeah. Always a great time at Passion. But I do want to highlight one specific session from the weekend that really caught my attention. So Cliff Nettle is a pastor of Grace Community Church in Connecticut and also the founder of the apologetics ministry, Give Me an Answer. And for one session, he joined Louis Giglio on stage. And prior to the conference, there had been this big survey of attendees where they just asked them, what are sort of the pressing questions that you have about faith, the Bible, theology, different things like that. And they compiled a list of the 12 most common questions that they found, and they went through them in the session. And so I just want to go through the list of 12. We don't have time to go through all of his answers, but here's kind of what's on the minds of Christians 18 to 24.
I'm curious. Very curious.
Is Jesus my homeboy? Sorry, that's 2010. Sorry. I just got a T-shirt called Jesus My Homeboy.
Number one.
Did they talk about that on The Crown?
Yeah.
I wore my Jesus My Homeboy shirt while I was watching The Crown and listening to Kanye. Yeah,
makes sense. Okay, first question. What is the evidence that God exists? Second question, does science contradict the Bible?
Hold on. Is the answer creation? Like look around you? Like what was his answer? Do you know?
I know some of it, was there is, you can see it in creation, you can see it in your own life. Like he kind of said, just make it, if you can make it personal, like that can
There's
help.
like fingerprints of God kind of everywhere you look.
But he did also go through, there are also historical documents that we can see and walk through some of the, the historical proof of.
Yeah, like the verifiability of different like prophetic literary notions that were later, the odds of all of it kind of culminating in verifiability would be very low if there wasn't some sort of force behind it.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. Second question, does science contradict the Bible?
Biologos would say no.
Yeah. Third question, is agnosticism the safest option? So I thought this one was interesting. Basically, people are wondering, if we can't prove that God exists, is it okay to be agnostic? Like, is that kind of still covering our bases? And the pastor was like, obviously not. You have to wrestle with that. Like,
I think Jesus was pretty clear that there's one way.
You have to make a choice.
But even if you're taking it a-religiously, right? Like you're not saying just from like a Christian perspective. I think the notion of agnosticism would instantly be the most unsafe, because at least if you're taking an atheistic perspective, you say there is no God, so there's no consequence for not believing. That there is no penalty I'm going to face for not believing. If you're agnostic, you're acknowledging there's a higher power, but acknowledging that you think it's so irrelevant to your life that you're not even going to make an effort to get to know it. I feel like, well, that seems much more a dangerous path, no matter what sort of, religious background you come from.
You say agnosticism acknowledges there's a higher power. I was under more of the impression that atheism is an absolute, definitive no God, but agnosticism is like, I don't know, I don't care. It doesn't like, but you just said like that it acknowledges there is, or it could be a higher power.
It could be.
Yeah. Okay.
From my understanding.
That it's irrelevant because whatever it is outside our okay. Where to me that seems like the most dangerous, not the most safe.
And it's odd to me that you said that these 10 questions they took as a poll from the attendees at Passion.
Yeah, these are questions that they submitted.
Were they like force fed? Like, here's 20 options and rank them, or was it like they literally wrote these down and they were?
That I actually am not clear on.
Okay. Because that seems like an odd question that became a consensus question.
Yeah.
In a void. You know what I mean? Like so many people
did they stack the
They
deck
said
a little,
audience submitted, but maybe, I mean, and maybe there's different versions. And maybe it was
just like
this.
randomly, almost like they're pulling them out of a hat and they're just going to answer them randomly. It's not like 60% of the people there had this on their mind.
They did. Well, they said that they, like, of all of the ones that were submitted, they picked the ones that seemed to appear the most and they selected that. So people may not have been writing in exactly, is agnosticism the safest option? But they may have been asking questions about agnosticism.
Like, do we have to believe in God?
But those three are all primarily interested in a very binary idea of the existence of a creator, right?
Yeah, so, it's like, if God actually exists, that means I have to serve him. If we can't prove he exists, then maybe I don't. Sounds like they're...
I want to hear, I'm interested in the other questions because those seem like relatively, like, not simplistic, but like I said, very binary. Like, yes, he's real. Yes, you can verify it. Yes, you should believe in him instead of taking a, laissez-faire approach to it. What were the other ones? I'm curious.
The next one is, if God is sovereign, how do free will and predestination coexist?
There we go. Now we're talking. Like,
now we're cooking with grease.
Yeah.
Yeah, because that whole idea of the dichotomy,
like the reform people are over here, and the sorry.
That idea between like Calvinism and Arminianism, right? Where do I choose to come to God, or does God choose to come to me? And if he does, and if I'm not saved, that means I wasn't chosen by him. Right. To me, the whole idea of sovereignty and free will, now that's a really meaty, challenging question.
And depending on who's answering the question, is you're going to get a totally different answer theologically. So that's interesting that he tackled that and probably didn't acknowledge the opposing Christian theology from his own. He probably answered it like what I'm telling you is the answer that the Bible says. It's like, well, there's denominations I would disagree with you. Whatever it is he said. Go ahead. Yeah.
Sorry. No, the next question was, what about people who have never heard of Jesus? Like, what happens to them?
Yeah. So kind of one. In that similar vein of the sovereignty question.
Yeah. The next two are related to each other, so I'll say both of them. One is eternal.
Sorry. Do you know what he said to that? Because I'll tell you what I've heard, what I was told when I asked that question in my Fundamentalist Baptist Christian school Bible class. He said, and it's just stuck with me. I was in 7th grade. I won't forget it. I asked him the same question because there's billions of people in the 1040 window that haven't heard the name of Jesus. And if Jesus says, I'm the only way to heaven, he said that the Bible, or that God would treat those people as he treats infants who die, that they haven't had the opportunity to accept Jesus, whether they reached the age of understanding or had the opportunity to reach Jesus, and that there's a special place for them in heaven, in paradise, or whatever. That's what he told me. And I was like, okay.
I mean,
So
maybe, or well, again, I'm hesitant to kick this theological hornet's nest, but even like the notion that death is the last opportunity for the extension of grace.
Now you're getting into purgatory, but yeah.
Or just the idea of, maybe our understanding of eternal.
I mean, the new heaven, new earth. I mean, there's a new reign.
There's multiple judgments that are outlined, and it says, believe with your mouth and confess with your heart that Jesus is Lord, and that's the path to salvation. And Revelation later says that every knee will bow, every tongue will confess.
Right.
So does that mean that there is this extension of our opportunity to bow our knees and confess with our mouths and believe with our heart? Because
do you remember that episode 2 months ago where I kind of read through speed reader style, kind of like what happens after we die?
Yeah.
And what does the Bible say about the end times? It made the case that the Bible, again, there's 5,000 denominations for a reason. We all interpret the scripture differently. But it made the case that when Christ returns for the 1,000-year reign, that the judgment day happens after that. And so that during that 1,000-year reign is when every knee shall bow, every tongue confess, and we all kind of come to and that there may be people who reject or whatever, and they will be damned eternally after that point. But like to your point, Jesse, there's a strong theological case to be made that there's a second moment after death where these people who didn't hear about Jesus or the newborns or whatever, serve him. Jesus.
Yeah, and is hell ultimately our choice, not God's? Do we choose to separate ourselves from God for a variety of reasons and not receive his grace because of our own, the frailties of our own free will? I do find, just as slight digression, but like these conversations seem to be less fraught than they used to be. Like there's probably a period 15 years ago around the time like Rob Bell wrote like Love Wins. Mm-hmm. And even just the idea of questioning traditional notions of the salvation arc was enough to kind of get like, it was like pre-canceled. It was like theologically canceled.
Oh yeah, he got banned from Lifeway. Of course he got canceled.
Where I saw this week, I don't know how it showed up in my feed, but something where like Kirk Cameron, who used to be associated with like
Growing
Ray
Pains.
Comfort, and Growing Pains, and Leonardo DiCaprio, who's co-starred with him there. He was associated with the evangelist Ray Comfort, who his whole method of kind of street evangelism was trying to essentially, if you died today, do you know where you would spend eternity? And it was a very scary type of approach. Where Kirk Cameron on this podcast he did said he's now an annihilationist, where he doesn't believe in eternal punishment. He just believes that you cease if you don't have salvation. Like that notion of eternal sort of damnation.
And, how does he attribute to like the lake of fire and things like that are?
I didn't. I was thinking, it would be a curveball, but to have someone like that on to just say like,
I'm good.
I know, but I am interested in like the evolution of someo's thinking.
No evolution, Jesse.
But again, I feel like these conversations.
Did you even go to a Baptist high school?
I did. That's why I find all of these conversations
fascinating.
Yeah, exactly. Anyway, sorry. That's a long digression.
Sorry.
Yes. Moving on. Like I said, these next two questions sort of relate to each other. So the first one, is eternal suffering compatible with a loving God? And the second one, why does God allow suffering? So
I don't know. I think the first one is along the lines of what we were just talking about. And the second one is the major question that people or thing that people say to reject Jesus is like, I could never serve a God who allows XYZ to happen, right? So I think those are two totally. One's kind of the here and now, and one
right. Well, I guess they're both about suffering. Yeah.
But it also goes back to the idea of sovereignty, because suffering is a lot of times inflicted by other people who are knowingly inflicting pain and suffering on other people because they have the free will to do so. So the prevention of that suffering would be the subversion of someone else's free will.
Right.
And so then it comes back to that idea of sovereignty.
And we live in a fallen world, and fallen people do bad things. Yeah.
Moving on, I got a few more questions. How should Christians think about sexuality?
A lot.
No, how should they? Not how often.
Not how often. Sorry.
Moving on. Should Christians be involved in politics? Also moving on.
Should they be involved in food service and healthcare? I mean, come on.
Yeah.
I guess it's how should they be would be a more interesting question.
Yeah, how often?
Go ahead. Yeah.
How often?
There we go. They should have switched the questions. Yeah. How do believers discern God's will? I like that. Getting practical. I appreciate that.
Yeah. It's personal.
Yeah. What makes the Bible different from other holy books?
Okay.
What do you say? Because we say so.
Because the Bible said so.
Because some people in 1400 got in a room and or 400 or whatever year it was. One of those.
I mean, honestly, his reason was kind of going back to what we were saying before, like just the historical documents of it. Like we can prove that they're more, I guess, accurate. I wasn't necessarily in love with his response. I think he could have gone a little more in depth, but he was kind of losing steam, I feel. So anyways.
He's probably older.
He's like, did we say 10?
He is 71. So
he's 71. He was like, I thought we were going to be done by 10 p.m. I thought this was over. Why are we still? Yeah.
I got to watch the ball drop. Yeah.
My Uber driver is going to say I'm lame if I don't call it soon.
I literally have 3 episodes of The Crown left. Can we wrap this up?
If I don't get out of here soon, it's going to be surge pricing. So we got one more.
Yeah. So he does end it on a nice, easy one, which is, what does it mean to become a Christian?
Okay. Passion. If you're a Passion attendee, listen, you got that out of Passion as a recap. All I saw from Passion, literally
they sandbagged the last one.
All I saw from Passion, literally on TikTok and Instagram, was guys and girls going, I went to Passion and I'm looking around for my husband or my wife, whatever, and I didn't even talk to a girl or whatever. Like their recap from their Passion experience was, I didn't even talk to the opposite sex. And they were like disappointed, like they were like, it was great, but I kind of hoped I'd meet my wife, kind of thing. So they went there with some lame questions and lame expectations. Come on, Passionate.
Here we are.
Yeah. Stay home and watch The Crown next year. It's good. I'm kidding. I like Passion. Sorry.
Yeah. Well, okay. Speaking of TV shows, I'm going to bring us up to 2026, not 2023 or whatever year The Crown did there, Cameron. Because my favorite season has officially kicked off, which is award season. I am one of 5 people who actually care about the award season. I know. Sunday night was the Critics' Choice Awards, which is like the first award show of the season. And I'm always interested in them because they're not like a clear indicator of who's going to win the Oscars, but they do give like a pretty good idea of who's really the front runner.
Front runners.
Yeah. And I'm personally really excited because Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor for playing a fantastic ping pong player. I know a sport that Jesse's really passionate about.
We can't endorse it because I read that his bare butt was on the screen and there's a bunch of stuff. So
if you just close your eyes during that part and then the rest of it, the fast pace of ping pong just really gets.
I've heard only good things. I haven't seen it, obviously, but people are saying it's great. And it's going to be the first A24 film to cross $100 million. I mean, it's a bona fide hit. So
which is surprising because I feel like A24 has had some, in my mind, they've had big hits, but I guess
they've had Oscar winners and stuff like that, but those are usually critical darlings and not commercial.
Mm-hmm.
So
anyway. But yeah, so just giving, I just want to give some highlights. So Timothée Chalamet won Best Actor. Jessie Buckley won Best Actress for Hamnet. That was one of our favorite movies of the year. Very sad, but you should watch it.
And when you say if you guys want our Relevance Top 10 Movies of 2025, go over to the site. We posted it the week before New Year's. Mm-hmm. It's a great list, and Hamnet is on there. I hadn't seen Hamnet yet because Emily told me I shouldn't because I will sob the entire time. I cried at The Crown, so of course.
I'm genuinely worried for your mental health if you see Hamnet, but I do need you to see it because it's so good. Like I'm torn on it. Just be prepared.
It's one of those like gut wrenching because it's so incredible and beautiful. And
it took me like a week to kind of get out of the funk, if I'm being honest.
Whoa. So really,
it was.
Can't wait.
You're not selling it really good.
It was like a deep.
By the way, if you want to get depressed for a week or more, go watch this movie.
I felt deeply depressed in a very dark place, a little nauseous for about a week and a half.
Just go see it. Should go see it, everybody.
In the best way, though. In the best way. Okay, Best Supporting Actor went to Jacob Elordi for Frankenstein. Did y'all watch that one?
No. Was he Frankenstein
or
the monster?
He was the monster. Okay, Oscar Isaac was Frankenstein. That's right. Common mistake. But he won Supporting Actor. And then Supporting Actress went to Amy Madigan for Weapons, which I was really surprised by. I'm assuming we didn't see weapons because it was a horror film, which horror movies don't really win
that's surprising.
awards. So
But it's sort of a art house horror.
Yeah.
Like, it's sort of a fever dream type of,
thriller horror thing, but just not what I was expecting to win. But happy for her, good for her. Best Picture and Best Director went to One Battle After Another and Paul Thomas Anderson.
Yeah.
So you'll just expect to hear those names a lot.
And Ryan Coogler won, right, for Best Original Screenplay, right?
Yes, for Sinners. Yeah.
Go into TV. That's my area. Who won the big ones in TV?
So here's the thing that's funny about TV is a lot of these shows, you just hear them a lot every single season. So the big sweeps went to The Pit, Severance, Studio. Really the only new one from like what was happening last season is Rhys Seehorn won Best Actress for Pluribus, which just came out.
Warranted. Incredible. Yeah. It's incredible.
Yeah. But a lot of the other stuff, it's kind of same every, like Jean Smart won Hacks. She's never lost since Hacks has been on. It's just one of those things. Like
you know when the Emmys like gave like all the comedy awards to like Veep every year, not Veep, or like they just like 7 years in a row, even after it wasn't merited. It was merited the first two, and then it was like there are other great shows, but it's like, oh wait, these voters don't actually watch. There's no way that Hacks is winning an award in the year of our Lord 2026. It fell off after season 2. I'm sorry, it just did. But she's like
the critics disagree.
Grandfathered in. Nah, they're wrong. I'll go 10 toes down on that. Hacks was good for 2 seasons and not.
I just feel like award shows gotten too predictable to be fun. Like you know generally who's going to win, who's going to lose, right? Yeah. Like there's no
because they're not watching all of it. They're watching a very small pool, and then they're going off like, oh, I hear this is gonna probably win, so I'll vote with the crowd. It's like it's Survivor. It's literally Survivor. Like whatever the crowd's doing, I won't stick my head out.
Or at least give like the people some categories. It's like I can't
I've been
believe
watching
that
Survivor. By the way, that's the other thing I've been binging.
It's like I can't believe I spent 90 enjoyable minutes with that. It's like Poop Cruise. Yes, they won. Like. Everyone in America would be like, it probably deserved it. I can't believe that I watched it.
I mean, documentary? Poop Cruise was great. Yeah. They should have won something.
They could have a whole cruise category this year of cruise ship.
Best cruise documentary,
the one girl who got lost on a cruise, and then they think she might be in the island still and got trafficked.
It's a whole thing this year. I think weird like sketchish comedy, and you could throw YouTube channels in this too, because I don't think we no longer need gatekeepers, but there's tons of like goofy, even like the kind of non SNL Please Don't Destroy type of stuff, or like Tim Heidecker, or I Think You Should Leave. Why don't we have a category for that style of comedy? Because I do feel like that is becoming more ever since you could probably trace it back to like even before Vine, like what like Andy Samberg and those guys were doing on YouTube before they were on SNL, or the Workaholics guys. There's this whole vein of just people who make funny sketch comedy on YouTube, and occasionally it breaks out. Well, why don't we get a category like that?
I'm telling you. By the way, Emily, before you go to the next thing, I kind of don't. I'm in my head as we go. I'm thinking of the show description and how to, whatever. Those 10 theological questions. We left a few of those hanging chads. Another current pop culture reference. Hanging chads. We didn't settle some of the theology. We didn't settle some of the theology. I don't want to upset any pastors or people who are listening. Is there a link online or anything to that session where people could go see the actual answers by this expert instead of our stupid answers?
Yes, we will post something on our site for people who want to hear at least his thoughts and opinions. If you actually want real answers to those 10 questions, we're not going to leave you hanging like a Chad in 2000. We're going to post something at relevantmagazine.com. Go check it out. Okay. Yes.
Cool. Thanks. All right. Last thing.
Okay. Last thing. I do want to close out Buzz by giving just a little bit of a teaser of my recent interview with the band Citizens. I sat down with Zach Bolen after the band released their new album Museum, which funny, it's kind of stylized weird. It's M space US space EUM. Obviously, I had to ask about that because it did take too much brain power to even figure out what it was saying. But it is pronounced EM. And he clarified that it's because when they were creating this project, they were really wanting to emphasize humanity and people are the art that we should be focusing on. So I'm thinking, of course, AI is taking over. That's what you're talking about. That is not at all what they were thinking about. I want you to hear what he actually has to say about why they started this project.
Okay, so there's this tension I've always wrestled with, being both who we are as a band, citizens, being in the Christian space, but sort of never feeling totally at home there. And part of that's intentionally. I mean, one, if I'm being totally honest, I don't necessarily emotionally connect with a lot of what Christian music is. And it's not because I'm not even saying as a judgment. I'm just saying for me personally, it's been a harder space for me to feel like, oh, I really connect with this. But even still, I think that like so much of the Christian art space is oftentimes focusing so much on what does it mean versus what does this make me feel? And I think if we're willing to ask the question of what does this make me feel rather than needing the person who made it to tell you what it means, I actually think there's a lot of freedom in that, because what I think about is now after all these years, people will ask us like, maybe we'll do like a Q&A before a show, let's just say. And someone will say, they'll share a story about what a song means. And then someone else will ask a question about another song. And you're like, ooh, but if I answer that question, I kind of mess it up for that other person who has this story connected to it that is way deeper than we could have ever imagined when we wrote the song. So I just think Museum was meant to sort of be an emphasis around stepping into a space where we're kind of welcoming all the complexities of humanity and knowing that, I don't know, I think that it's probably easier right now to divide people than it is to bring them together. And this was our way of making something that was the antithesis to the division approach.
Yeah.
Okay, before you go to the next question, see, he's just confirming what we just did earlier in the same segment.
Just leave it.
We're not
open.
telling you what to think. We're just asking questions for the Lord to reveal truth to you. That's what Christian music should be doing, and that's what this podcast should be doing.
Last time I checked, if you're listening to the show or you're listening to the Citizen albums, you got an electronic device that can probably access the internet and get a lot of answers out there. Okay, it's a great thing.
All right. Tell us some more about your conversation.
That's so funny. What I thought was really interesting about his response is, he's talking about this tension that Citizens has kind of always had, that they really wrestled with on this project. But before he and I started chatting, we briefly spoke about how we both have moved to Nashville in recent years. And so I asked him, like, what has it been like for Citizens to be this sort of outsider Christian band to now live in essentially what is the Christian music capital of the world?
The bubble.
The what?
The bubble, the Christian music bubble of the world.
Exactly.
Yes.
Yeah. And he was very honest in his response. And so I want y'all to hear his thoughts about being in the bubble.
So when I moved here, I thought to myself, part of the reason we moved from Seattle was I have like great friendships there. Like, there's this band King's Kaleidoscope. Chad and I have written many, many songs together over the years. He's still in Seattle. And there's another guy in the band, Brian Eichelberger, and he and I have, and Citizens, and he's done a lot with Kings. Like we had like a really sweet community, but there was this part of me that was like, I kind of still want to be in a bigger community. I want to be with even more writers. I have these lifelong friendships with Chad and Brian. That's not going to change. So when I first moved here, I really said yes to a lot of stuff. Like, I'll write on this, sure. You want to write this worship song? Great. I'll jump in on that, or I'll jump in on this. And I quickly realized that all that did was help to kind of re-solidify where I was in Seattle in terms of my mindset, which was that, I don't want to try. It doesn't really benefit me to try. It doesn't benefit me or the people I'm working with to try and be something that I'm not. You could say that being in Seattle put us on a little bit of an island, but at the same time, I've kind of embraced that to a certain degree, that like, if you're going to make music in this particular genre and you're going to make something that's not, we're not intentionally trying to be different. We're just making the stuff that we want to make, and we're saying the things that we really feel like we need to say. And Citizens has provided the space for that. If anything, it just makes me want to be more of a bridge, like knowing that there's a lot of people out there that maybe feel that same desire. Like there's a lot of rights that I've been in with people writing songs where they're maybe a little bit more in the sort of mainstream Christian space, and they're telling me the things that they really wish that they could say. And I'm like, just do it. Like, just say it, or, you know, or do that thing, you know? And I like that. I like being in the space for that reason, to be like sort of the one to encourage people to do the thing that maybe others are telling them not to do. Not to just create disorder or to, but more just in the sense that like, there's a lot of really talented people here. I mean, and I rarely meet people that I don't like. Every now and then there's someone that's like, man, that was a tough personality for me. But usually I would say 99% of the time, I'm like, I could hang with those people. And for me, what's been helpful about that is I can make friends with people in the Christian music industry and not necessarily like or connect with the art that they make, but still be friends with them. And they could feel the same way about me, and that can be totally fine. And I like that, and I want more of that. So for me, being here has provided a lot of that. Just because I've gone through the whole, you know, disillusion, deconstruction, whatever phase years ago, and that was helpful for me. And I just was one of the people that came out of that and still wanted to be a part of this, but just in a different way. And so I think the different way for me is wanting to be a bridge. I would say in years past, I was a part of things that were more, if we divide people and we pit people against each other, that's really effective. And it works. But it's just, for me, it feels pretty antithetical to the kind of life that I want to live.
And so in many ways, the band and this project are just about like uniting people, finding common ground, which I don't know, I feel like it's kind of been a message on a lot of people's hearts for thoughts, I guess, in the last few years. And so I wanted to like really dig in with him. Like, you know, we talk about this, but how do we actually make this happen? And he said that the best way to achieve this goal is to be curious and to cultivate curiosity. And so I was like, okay, well, what does that even mean? Explain that to me further.
He's like, well, what you do is you go to a large Christian Young Adult conference and they're going to hand out note cards, and then just write all your questions there. And that's all you need to do. And this is what he says.
In maybe some different words. Sure.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay.
Let's just hear what he has to say.
Okay.
I would say for me, it was getting to know my neighbors more. Realizing that some of my neighbors I have a lot in common with. Some of them I don't have as much in common with, but none of us as neighbors are exactly the same person. And none of my neighbors happen to be in the music industry. They're all very different people. And I kind of love that. But I think probably the bigger thing fundamentally, maybe you don't have as many neighbors out there. I don't know. People live in lots of different situations, but it's just asking questions. I think that that's probably something that we don't do a lot of anymore. In fact, I've noticed if people ask me questions, a lot of times it's more of like a leading question. It's like, don't you just think that these people over here, that they're just, what they're doing is so wrong? Or, you know, isn't it just shocking the way that, you know, this group of people over here are thinking that this is okay? And you're like, wow, you're not really asking me a question. You're just wanting me to agree with you. And I think that's something we've been conditioned to do. Someone might push back on that and say, well, what about faith? It's like, well, faith begins with curiosity. Like, how can you believe in a God you don't see without curiosity? Otherwise, it's like something else that draws you into that. I don't know. Fear or something. So I just think curiosity is the door to so many fantastic things. And I think it oftentimes starts with asking questions. Like, I have people in my life that believe things that I am so against. And I would say many people are against, but I am in it for the long game. I want relationship with them. I don't want to just be right. I'd rather be wrong about not pointing out every glaring thing on them, and in the end have a relationship that allows me to be able to say things to them that are like, be able to let them know who I am, than to just, while also getting to know them so there can be trust built. I'd rather that than them know what I think and them tell me what they think and we never talk to each other again. I don't want that.
Question. Did you ask him about their original band name before they were citizens, that they were sovereign citizens, and what the meaning was around that?
They hate taxes.
Did you ask him about traveling in cars?
What is his thoughts about mandatory DUI stops, checkpoints?
That part didn't come up. Shocking enough that
he rolls his window down like
a
a centimeter and just slides the ID through.
And they never look out the window. They look. I am a traveler. I do. They'll hold up a piece of paper in the window. Yep. I do not need to show you my ID.
The cops love that. They love it.
Love it. And really, he's the one who started it. I don't know if you knew that. He's the leader of that entire movement.
Big into it.
Exactly.
He's
that's what he's most known for.
That's why he had to move to Nashville, because he could arm himself and create a bunker.
It's safer in the bubble. Yeah.
He owes several $100,000 in taxes, and but Uncle Sam ain't getting it. Let's see him try.
Yeah, let's see him try.
That's what the rest of the interview was quite ranty.
It got real weird.
That's why I had to pick and choose what parts became public. Yeah, for his safety and ours.
Yeah, of course.
All right. Well, to read the actual conversation that Emily had, go check out relevantmagazine.com. Search for Citizens right there. It'll pop right up. All right. Thanks, Emily. Stay tuned. Up next, really quick slices. I think maybe just one. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by John Mark Comer's book, Garden City, a book that speaks to the tension we all feel between work, rest, and purpose. The New York Times bestselling author John Mark Comer takes us to the scriptures to identify what it really means to be human and flips the script on the idea that who you are matters, not what you do. He shows that God created us for meaningful work and meaningful rest. Both matter. This book helps you ask and answer the big questions. Does God care where I work? Is there a direction for my life? So you can discern God's heart for your calling, your rhythms, and the way His Spirit wants to shape every part of your life. If you're longing for purpose and a more grounded way to live, check out the new hardcover edition of Garden City wherever books are sold. Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Erwin McManus's book, The Barbarian Way. Some books don't just inspire you, they confront you. The Barbarian Way, now celebrating its 20th anniversary, is one of those books. If you felt the pull of God towards something deeper and wilder than the safe, predictable version of faith that we settle for, McManus reminds us that following Jesus was never meant to be tame. It's meant to awaken courage, passion, and purpose God placed inside us. He draws from the wild stories of Abel, Noah, Moses, Rahab, and others to remind us that following God wasn't meant to be tame. Safe faith isn't working. Step into the story God is writing for you. Choose passion, choose boldness, choose the Barbarian Way. Available now wherever books are sold. Okay, it's time for
Slices.
All right, what do you have, Jesse?
All right. So I was watching the Pasadena Rose Bowl parade on New Year's Day. It was kind of all in the background. I was kind of in and out of the room. And at one point, this float was coming by, and it was a giant seahorse. Okay. And one of the commentators noted that this was a Guinness World Records setting float for the largest float of an animatronic fish ever. And the other commentator noted how specific that category was. And,
what's the competition for that?
And so Emily and I were sharing some slices back and forth. By that, I mean, Emily was sending me a lot of good options and sent this one about just new Guinness Book of World Records, and it really, really got under my skin. I'm not going to tell you what the world record was. I'm just going to tell you what the category was, because honestly, there's no context for this. Who cares, right? Fastest 100 meters barefoot on Lego bricks. You could tell me it was 5 seconds. You could tell me it was 60 seconds. I don't care, because it's a dumb category. Fastest time to clear a game of Hungry Hungry Hippos with a team of 2. Fastest garden shed. This is a garden shed on wheels with a motor. Okay. Most matches held in the nose. Okay. I can kind of see that. Fastest 10 meters.
That's the one that you're
pushing...
fine with?
No, that's the one that at least over the eons, people have tried that. Nobody's tried to race a shed.
Fastest 10 meters pushing a skateboard by a pig. Why did it? What about 12 meters? What if I went for the 12-meter contest? Is that okay? These are so... Okay, most golf tees in the hair. Okay, I could go on. Most spoons bounce on the body. I've said this before, and I'm not going to sit here and rant all day, because I'm sure I've said it numerous times in the archives.
I'm okay with most spoons on the body, though. Oh, wait a second. What about big bodies?
That's
real
what.
bodies?
What about a 7-footer versus?
There's no universal body size
person.
Yeah, that's what
you
you
just go
out.
find the biggest body you can and lay them down and put spoons on them.
Yeah, if I had Shaq and Kevin Hart, and they were my two, So here's.
You're right.
This is going to date me, but I don't care.
This whole episode has dated me, so go for it.
Yeah, you said hanging Chad, so
that is something I will be Googling later.
It was the original sort of election conspiracy.
2000 Bush Gore in Florida.
Yeah, I missed that
the
election.
Vote was physical paper and it punched. You had to punch your choice for president.
They were doing a recount.
They were doing a recount.
I know about the recount.
There was hanging Chads. Like they didn't fully punch. So do we count the hanging Chad as a vote or not? And it was a big controversy. Went to the Supreme Court. They handed it to Bush.
Yeah.
So,
and we've never had an election controversy since.
There was a massive push for computerization after the hanging Chad incident.
Yeah. So what could go wrong after that? No. Here. I'm not gonna stand on the soapbox too long. But when the World Guinness Book of Records went from like this, thick, dusty almanac that was like yellow paper, and you got an image maybe once every 12 pages, and when you did, it was horrific. It was it was like those fingernails that are curling, and and for some reason the guy's got the end in like a velvet Crown Royal bag to protect him, and he's not even. It doesn't even look like he posed for the picture. It just looked like the Guinness Book of World Records surprised him and snapped it. Like. No one in there looked very happy to have. Right. The Guinness Book of World Records were mostly records no one wanted.
They were shameful.
Like,
they were.
Yeah, it was like the same pictures of the world's tallest man from like 1932. It just over.
You could go to Ripley's Believe It or Not and see all of that stuff in displays.
Yeah,
which I did recently.
And it was more of an academic type of book than it was just in case you wanted to know. Like this wasn't just glossy oddities. Now when it went from that to like the yearbook style, where it's all glossy and you got these big, beautiful pictures of like 50 people on one motorcycle or whatever, it went downhill because they had to come up with there's no point in owning these records because I could just make up something. Right. I could be the only person to hopscotch while singing the national anthem and then clapping 8 times at a full moon. Great. Got the world record. Congrats. This has to stop.
Jesse, I do think you have a
losing
world
all
record,
credibility. I do. The
Nickelback one. Yeah,
it wasn't submitted and verified, but he does have a record.
It's a racket. It is a racket, and it's jumped the shark, and someone needs...
So that's your issue, is that you weren't verified for listening to Nickelback for the longest tenure in human history.
I'm going to start my own world record. Guinness, your time has come. It's, no one cares about this stuff anymore, Yeah. I don't care about pushing a pig on a skateboard 10 meters. So why not 10 and a half? It's so arbitrary. There's going to be a new system, and I will be unveiling it sometime in 2026. And a lot of these records people aren't going to want to have, and they're gruesome, and it's going to be a dusty old book. You
have to go hiding. Yeah.
It's going to be a very dusty 4-inch thick book.
That'll do it for Slices. Stay tuned after this quick break. Overrated, underrated, or just right.
Today's podcast is brought to you in part by Day One. If you're looking for a great new addition to your podcast rotation, Day One has been on the radio and now podcasting every week for 80 years. Hosted by Reverend Dr. Katie Gibbons-Kime, each Day One episode features a different preacher from across Christian traditions, from Westminster Abbey in London to the Luke Church in Humble, Texas. Find the Day One weekly podcast on Spotify, Apple, YouTube, or wherever you get your podcasts, or visit day1.org. That's DAY, the number 1.org, day1.org. Sermons, interviews, and insights every week. I highly recommend. Well, today's show is brought to you in part by the new book, God, the Science, the Evidence. We talk a lot about faith, but how often do we talk about science in the same breath? You might be surprised to discover just how deeply the two actually agree. For centuries, science has been used to dismiss the idea of God, but today an intellectual revolution is underway. Modern discoveries in physics, cosmology, and biology are consistently revealing the same truth: creation isn't an accident. That profound reversal is what engineers Michel-Yves Bolloré and Olivier Bonassi investigate in their international bestseller, God, the Science, the Evidence. This book is a rigorous, evidence-based critique of materialism, inviting you to explore over a dozen scientific, philosophical, and historical domains. It shows that what was once seemed impossible, that science could point to a creator, is now supported by a vast and convergent body of evidence. With over 400,000 copies sold in Europe, this book is sparking a global debate. It's thoughtful, fascinating, and a powerful reminder that reason itself affirms the existence of God. Learn more and find out where you can purchase your copy today by visiting godthesciencetheevidence.com.
They get the book in the mail. They're like, oh, was this wet at some point? What happened? That's how it should be. It should be an old, nasty book that everyone in America, for reasons that are explainable, somehow owns.
And that's how we're starting our new segment, Overrated, Underrated, or Just Right. I would say Jesse's going to say Guinness Book of World Records, overrated. So that's an example. Yeah. So here's what we're going to do. I'm going to just tell you something, and you tell me if it was overrated, underrated, or just right. Jesse, we'll start with you. Malcolm in the Middle trailer dropped last week for the reboot. Reboots and revivals, overrated, underrated, or just right?
Just right. Some hits, some misses,
Yep. All right, Emily, word of the year.
Typically underrated. Or sorry, overrated. Yeah.
Way overrated.
Yeah. Word of the year was a number, so it really, what's the point at the
what?
And the most annoying
6-7 was like word of the year, I think, for
I'm talking about word of the year, like when people go into January, my word for 2026
that makes more sense.
is like strength or whatever, or abundance, or
in that case, I'm still gonna do overrated. I've done it before and it did not change my life, so yeah. I'm just saying.
Okay. Jesse, sauna culture.
Oh, very underrated. I think we need more
underrated.
Of that. Yeah.
I agree
Never really
with you.
Experienced it, but seems pretty cool. I mean,
dude, sitting in a room with other people sweating, just moist.
Why not?
It's great.
Why not?
It's great. Yeah. Emily, not setting big goals. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
I would say just right. I don't think you need to set big goals for the year.
Jesse, church merch. Underrated, overrated, or just right?
I will diplomatically say it's overrated. You probably don't want my unfiltered thoughts on it. I'll just say overrated.
What? You have a lot of thoughts on church merch?
I think that the entire conceit of it is problematic. It's literally the commodification of the body,
a sermon
of
series, or a brand, or it's weird.
Again, I'm not in a place.
Most of it looks cool. It looks cool. Just fundamentally, I question why you're selling this crap in the lobby. But
again, my thing is more of a fundamental sort of misalignment with like why
commercialization of ministry.
Anyway, go ahead. Yeah.
Emily, rewatching comfort shows, overrated, underrated, or just right?
Just right. You can pry my comfort shows out of my dead hands. I need them.
Underrated? Are you kidding me?
Yeah.
No, but I feel like everyone does it.
Rewatching comfort shows is emotional regulation. That is underrated. It needs to be celebrated as actual mental health.
No. I feel like it is. I mean, I feel like everyone I know is rewatching. That's why I feel like it's just right.
I don't know. You guys are making fun of me for watching The Crown. So
well, you weren't rewatching it. You were watching an old show once, and would you say it's a comfort show now?
Yeah. I'll rewatch it one day. Anyway, we gotta keep moving. Jesse, Inbox Zero, overrated, underrated, or just right?
Totally overrated. Never had it in my life, and probably never will.
Couldn't care less.
See a need for it.
Completely. Hold on. What's your number? I think we just said this on another show. My number of unread emails is 143,471.
38,600. Yeah, 38,670. It could be a million. I don't care.
Emily, being chronically offline, overrated, underrated, or just right? And those people won't even hear your answer, so you can say whatever you want.
Honestly, underrated. I spent most of my holiday break being offline, and as someone who, like, I am normally very online, they're doing something right. I'll be on my mental health so high.
Yeah, it's great.
Okay, a couple quick ones. Jesse, standing desks.
Overrated. Just stand on your own time. Take a walk. What are we doing?
Emily, morning people. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
Overrated. 100%. I've never been a morning person, never will be. Do not care to be.
Jesse, podcasts going video first.
Careful.
Oh, seems just right. Seems just right these days. I mean,
Underrated for me. Underrated. Emily, dry January. Overrated, underrated, or just right?
Overrated.
It's January 5th and I'm 5 days into my dry January, and I can tell you definitively, way overrated.
I'm not in dry January.
Way overrated.
Just overrated.
Last round. Jesse, mouth taping at night.
Seems just right because the people into it, good for you. But,
Is it a snoring thing?
Yeah, I think it helps with snoring. And I think also like sleep apnea or something like that.
Yeah.
I don't know.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Okay, last one. Emily, small churches.
Honestly, underrated. I've been a part of big churches and small churches. I love a good small church. They're very close knit. So underrated.
I agree. All right, we got a lot more where that came from. We may play that one again. Overrated, underrated, or just right. I like it a lot. Hey, this is the end of the show. If you're watching on YouTube, like it, subscribe. Don't miss an episode. We put them out every Tuesday. We have some exciting plans coming up this year. Also, a little relevant update later this month. New issue of the digital mag. And we are bringing back, I said this on my own IG the other day, so I'll announce it this way too. We're bringing back Unedited, my long form interview podcast later this month as well. You won't want to miss the first episode. I'm very excited about it. It's happening soon. I haven't done it yet, but I think it'll go well. Anyway, that's coming back. Follow us on all the socials, Relevant Magazine or Relevant. We're posting a lot every day. Thanks for listening. I'm Cameron Strang.
I'm Jesse Carey.
I'm Emily Brown.
We will see you next Tuesday. Have a great week, everyone.
Thanks for listening to the Relevant Podcast. For the latest at the intersection of faith, life, and culture, make sure to check out relevantmagazine.com. And while there, go over to issue 117 of Relevant. The new digital issue is packed, and you can read it for free. If you want our enhanced magazine, as well as ad-free reading at the site and ad-free versions of our podcasts, sign up for Relevant Plus. Plans start as low as $2.50 a month, and it's the best way to experience our content. Find out more and sign up today at relevantmagazine.com.
Relevant Podcast Network.